What to do if you have lots of notes to take but can't decide what to do with them. Write them in Drafts, the app that's about capturing your words and deciding what to do with them later. Hi, I'm Julian and welcome to another episode from Productivity Matters. This show is all about getting the best out of your day through the better use of productivity tools and discussing the various methods you can use to incorporate into your daily routines. If you're new here, then welcome. And if you've listened before, then welcome back. I should start this episode with an apology because Drafts is only available on iOS or Mac. So sorry everyone else, but they have no plans to release an Android or PC Windows version, which in my opinion is a shame because when you get under the hood of this particular product and take a good look, this is a really clever piece of software. And I should also explain that Drafts has been born out of Drafts 5. The developer decided to drop the version number when he released the Mac version of the app. So imagine you are needing to take some notes and you prepare to add it to your note-taking app, whether that be Evernote or a notebook or whatever, your Apple Notes or whatever. We realise that actually it's a task. Really? What should you do? Well, with Drafts, you don't need to think about that at the point of capturing the note. You just type it into Drafts and deal with it later. The important thing is to get it down. And Drafts is a very fully featured text editor on steroids. The application for Drafts is immense. In fact, when you first look at it, it can do so much, it is scary. It's possible to create entire, fully formatted documents. So when you launch the app, you're presented with an empty page along with some navigation icons. So show existing documents, open a new document, get information about the current document. You can add tags, there's a character and a word count, and there's an action button. I'll come on to actions later on. And at the bottom of the screen, there's also a host of things you could do. There's what they call focus mode, navigation between documents, there's an arrangement button, you can add links, there's the way it looks, and also the general settings. As for the formatting, you have a whole host of features available. There's text formatting in terms of styling and colouring. There's bullet points. You can make it bold or italic. The task lists you can create. You can add web links. And you can also dictate. And that last one is really quite incredible because you can literally speak. Drafts will capture it all. You need to use grammatical words to punctuate the text like period or comma. But of course, you can always go back over the text when you finish to format it and correct any words that were misheard. And the beauty of it is there's no time limit on it. So with Siri, I may be wrong here, I think it's about 45 seconds before it cuts out. With Drafts, when you use it, there is no time limit. There's also support for Apple Watch, Siri integration, iCloud sync, you've got version history. You can have a different app icon for your on your screen, on your iOS home screen, or on, actually not on the Mac, but on the iOS device, you can have a different app icon. Different themes, so you've got dark themes, sepia, light, and what else is there? Oh yeah, there's iOS widgets also for quick access to documents and also more. You can set up the text editing experience just the way you want to use it, and there are tons of adjustments. Like I mentioned, custom fonts, control versioning. You can control the line height, the spacing, and the margins, and there's extended options in a row above the keyboard, which gives you access to all of this functionality. If you write long-form articles, Drafts gives you the ability to rearrange complete blocks or individual lines just by drag and dropping. It's a great, simple way to edit an article. And there are also workspaces which allows you to keep related documents together, and tagging, so you keep everything organised. The full power of Drafts really comes from the Actions catalogue. There are many, many integrations. I'm not going to go into them all here. You can you'd have to delve into the Actions library just to see what they have. But I'll give you some real life examples of how I use Drafts. I'm not a power user, but it does help me get things done. So first and foremost, I use Drafts to capture my thoughts. It's an app in my iPhone dock, so it can be reached quickly, and I just type and type, and that's it. And later on I can review and decide what I want to do with it. I also use Drafts to add to my to-do list in Todoist. Yes, I'll say that again. I use Drafts to add tasks to my Todoist app. So entering the task details, I run an action to create a task directly. So I can create multiple lines within a drafts document, run an action, and each of those lines would be created as a task within Todoist. Or I can just create one task at a time. It's entirely up to me what I want to do. Now, one of the big things I use it for is with Fantastical 2, which is the iOS and Mac calendar app, which is what I've been using for years. And there are times that I'll receive an email with lots of different dates for various meetings. So in Drafts, I can enter each one of those on a separate line, along with the date and time, and I can run an action which is called Fantastically Good Event Parser. And the next bit is really clever. It takes each line and creates a separate event in Fantastical 2 using the natural language ability of the app, which has saved so much time. And I can even tell it which calendar to add the event to. So if I want to add it to my shared home calendar or to a work calendar, I can do that as part of the calendar entry. It's really, really simple and saves so much time entering each event individually. So they're fairly basic applications, but you can take automation with Drafts to another level. I use Drafts to update a Google Sheet. When I take a payment from a parent at the Cub group that I run, I have a pre-formatted page where I enter the date and the amount and the reason for the payment. I then run an action which in turn calls a Zap from Zapier, and the sheet is updated. And how about creating an invoice? Again, using a similar page, enter the date, the number of days to be invoiced, run the action, and a Zap will enter this onto a new line in Sheets. And then there's another Zap that picks that up and creates the invoice inside the invoicing software. Really, really clever. And one final example, just coming back to the Cubpack. If I want to send a group message, I can write it in advance in Drafts, and when it's time, I can send it directly via WhatsApp to the group, which means I can create the message without fear of sending it in error. And if I have a task in Todoist to remind me to send it, then job done. Now, I have really only scraped the surface of what Drafts can do once a draft has been created. Other functionality includes saving to online storage services like Google Drive or OneDrive, or saving locally to files. You can even integrate Drafts into a shortcut workflow. I may do another episode on shortcuts because that really is good stuff. And you can retrieve a draft document and then do something with it and continue. Recently, Drafts became available on the Mac, which really took away the what do I do here situation. It syncs up beautifully, so where I've written it on the phone and it's available to read on the Mac, or written it on the Mac, you can see it on the phone. That's all really good. And then the actions, which didn't come as day one, but they are there now. You can now use the actions within Drafts on the Mac. So I can do everything I need to do on the Mac. In fact, it's made Drafts much more useful. I don't need to think about where I'm going to write things down. Okay, so what about the cost? Well, almost every developer offers a free version of their app, which gives you the chance to try before you buy. Others have free use forever, but without the full feature set available. Draft falls into this second category. You get 1 week of the full application when you sign up to try it all out. And then it's either about £1.80 a month, or you sign up for the annual subscription of £17-ish to get all of the features. Now, Drafts Pro gives you the ability to edit actions, you can get different themes, you get workspaces, and quite a bit more. But do you need all of this? Many users can get by with the basic version, and I did to start with, and quite rightly the developer hasn't actually held back on the necessities, so you could get by with using it, without paying. But if you feel you want workspaces, which do come in handy, or you want the dark theme, if you're that desperate for dark theme, or you're going to be making use of actions and you're going to need to edit them, then maybe it's definitely worth the investment. I've mentioned in the past how using an app is habit forming to get the best of it, and it can take up to about 28 days for the habit to really become the norm. Therefore, you need to really use Drafts consistently to make it your go-to app for collecting all of your written notes and your thoughts. That's all for this episode. Hopefully you found something interesting, and if you have any comments, then I'd love to hear from you. Just message me via the link in the show notes. Please don't forget to subscribe where you normally listen to your podcasts so that you never miss an episode. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, please remember, productivity matters.